Hey everyone, it's Scott Groves at Consolidated Coaching, and was having a great conversation yesterday with a realtor that I have a lot of respect for, and we were talking about some of his marketing strategies, things he's spending money on. And the interesting thing was he was helping me evaluate some of the stuff that I spend money on as a loan officer. Should I be co-branding on Zillow? Should I be co-branding on Boomtown? Should I be spending money on Yelp? Should I be spending money on print marketing? And we kind of went through all the items one by one and talked a little bit through the things I'm spending my money on as a loan officer and the things that he's spending his money on as a realtor. And the truth is, my investment in different marketing avenues is much, much smaller than my buddies who I was talking to yesterday. Frankly, he spends $8,000 a month on Zillow, and he spends $5,000 a month on Boomtown lead generating. Now, the interesting thing is we were talking about a lot of the things that realtors and loan officers waste their money on and where we should deploy those assets. And it doesn't really matter what you're doing if you're doing it well, but I would be willing to bet a majority of loan officers and several realtors out there actually don't know what return on their investment is, their ROI on all of these things they're spending money on. So the thing that I liked about my buddy I was talking to yesterday is he immediately went to his spreadsheet and he said, hey, I started out with $1,000 spend on Zillow, and I realized my return on investment was about 300%. For every $1,000 I was spending, I was getting about $3,000 back in commission. So I ramped it up to $2,500 and then $4,500 and then $7,500. And he said right now it's spending about $8,000 a month on Zillow. His return on investment for his brokerage is just over 230%. So he gets it at a very high level. And he's admitted that moving from about the $5,000 mark up to the $8,000 mark, there's some point of diminishing returns because there's just not enough people in his market area looking for houses on Zillow and contacting realtors at that area or at that in that manner. So he talked about like, hey, I'm probably pretty capped out. Once I get to about a 200 or 300% return on my money, I'm probably going to shift to other avenues and spend my money elsewhere. But the truth is, if you're a realtor or a loan officer who's spending money on anything, you can pick anything, digital ads, digital lead sources, physical mail, and you don't know exactly what your return on investment is, I'd be willing to bet you're telling yourself anecdotal stories about why you should continue spending money there, and you really haven't done the math and run your spreadsheet on what your return on investment is. So, simple answer to a very complex message or complex question of where loan officers and realtors are wasting money. It's probably anywhere where you're not tracking what the result of that spend is. So if you can't pull up a spreadsheet and say, hey, my $5,000 of spend in this area created $12,000 in return, or $20,000 in marketing opportunity, or 75 phone calls that turned into this many applications that turned into this many closed deals, then one, you're not really running your business like a business. And two, I can almost guarantee you're talking yourself into spending that money due to anecdotal reasons and not actual math. So not going to give you the one thing that you might be wasting your money on, but hopefully a way to evaluate what you are spending your money on, take a good look at yourself and how you're spending and deploying your assets, and cancel the things that you are not making money on. Scott Groves, Consolidated Coaching. Hope this helps a little bit. Have a great holiday week. And as we go into the summer, which is where people buy toys and RVs and new cars and spend a lot of money vacationing, maybe it's a good time to look over all of the avenues where you're deploying capital and decide what you can stop spending money on. Scott Groves, Consolidated Coaching. Talk to you soon.